Hi there, Elevated Planet community. This is John Drew here from Elevated Planet. And today I'm with Derek Savory, who is our UFO expert, experiencer, and healer, and a myriad of other things as well.
At one time, I had a bad experience in the forest, and I got hurt. Got put in hospital. That's when you realise how real this stuff is. Anyway, I remember coming home and I thought, my life's over. I ain't going to live much longer. A few years ago, I had some people from down South Coast wanted to come do some filming in the forest, and I didn't want to let people down, so I said, yes, I'll do that. Well, literally the week before they were due to come, I get a message from Brenda, you can't do this. When I can't do it, she said, I'm getting a message you can't do this. Well, now the people are coming now, so I didn't want to let them down. I'm thinking, what's the worst going to happen?
Right.
Little did I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've turned up, spent a couple of days at my house. Group of us walked around the forest, not a problem. On the Monday, when they went back, done the filming, took them to a certain place in the forest. In one particular spot, I took them and they filmed. They didn't see what they'd filmed, but I did. I'm used to seeing ghosts and apparitions, I'll say. They didn't see what they got on film, but I did. The day they went, that night, I thought, oh, I can relax now. Got a can of beer, put my earphones on, bit of music, having a can of beer. First can, lovely. Just opened the second can of beer, and I felt this energy come in, and it literally picked me up and smashed my head down on the desk that I was on. And the first, that knocked me out, that knocked me clean out. And obviously I fell on the ground, and when I fell on the ground, my earphones unplugged out of the stereo, so now the stereo's blasting full blast. I'm laying there thinking, shit, and I've got covered in blood, and I've switched the stereo off, and I thought, blimey, I've been hurt here. Now, I kind of knew what happened, but I didn't want to face what happened. Like this energy has just picked me up and boff. I've had to crawl into the bedroom, which is behind me, through there. I've crawled into the bedroom, laid on the bed. I thought, oh, I can't deal with this. I'll deal with it in the morning. And in the morning, got out of bed and I'm still blood down the phone. Went to stand up and my balance had gone. So I fell over flat on my back. I couldn't stand up. Anyway, I crawled to my front door and I was laying on the floor. Thought, what am I going to do? And I couldn't see properly to phone anyone. By pure luck, I got a fellow that walks my dog. He's come walking past, my curtains undone, walked up, see me laying on the floor, come in. Then he got another neighbour, and I took to hospital. Went to hospital, and like now this is when it gets sticky. I've gone to hospital now. I have got pictures, by the way. I'm not sure if I want to share them, but I've got pictures. I've got a busted nose, split under there. There was and a lump on my head. I had 4 injuries. So I'm in the hospital there, and they thought I'd been beaten up. Has he been in a fight? No, I had a fall. So look at injuries. I said, well, you've got 4 separate injuries. Like lump there, busted nose, split there and there. And they said, well, it looks like you took a bit of a hiding. I said, no, I had a fall. And I wasn't sure if I'd actually had a seizure, a fall, a stroke, whatever, I don't know. They sort of patched me up and cleaned me up, sent me home. But the problem was my balance had gone. I couldn't walk properly. I couldn't stand up for long, so I had to find a special chair to put outside in the sun, sit in the sunlight. The neighbours walked past, like an idiot. But anyway, about a week or so after that, I had a medium that I haven't seen for years contact me. And she said, Derek, has something happened? I said, yeah, well, I had a fall in hospital. She said, no, Derek, you didn't have a fall. You had a psychic attack. You've broken universal law. I said, what do you mean? What's that? So I don't know, Derek said, this is a message I've got. You've had a psychic attack and you've broken universal law. Well, I'm sitting there thinking that was real. And then I realized it was real what happened. Anyway, it took me a few months to get over this, right? Because I couldn't stand up properly. Because I had a stroke a few years ago, my left arm doesn't work properly. I couldn't defend myself, if you understand what I mean, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I thought that's when I turned to mediums. I thought, right, there's a event up the road where the head mediums come up on platform. And that's before I was with Penny on my head.
Yes.
So this event, and the medium was up on stage and went to one or two different people. And I had my friends with me, Brenda Butler's with me and a few other friends. And then she come to me. My crikey. The first thing she said, she had her hand up, comes to me and says, halt. Referring to Colonel Holt. She didn't know that. She said, I'm getting hold. I don't know if it's a road sign or its name or somebody getting hold. Then she said, you've had something happen in the forest. She said, you're going to have to get back in the saddle and do it all again. This is how it started off. She told me a load of stuff. She said, and I need to speak to you in private after this. I'll have a private chat with you after this. She said, I'm getting universal. You've broken universal law. I said, what the freak is universal law? What are they talking about? I don't know. She said, but I'll have a chat with her afterwards. Said, but you're going to have to go back to the forest and do this all again. Only this time, follow universal law. I said, I'm not going back. I'm done with this now. I said, I'm not going back to the forest. It really frightened me. Besides the fact I got hurt. She said, well, why won't you go back? I said, no. I said, I want an army to go back there. After what's happened, I'm not going back. I'm done. And she said, well, I'll have a chat with you afterwards. Which she did. She told me all this stuff with the spot on. And afterwards, she come, we had a chat. She said, look, you've got to go back to the forest and do this. That's your destiny. Yeah, you've got to do this. I said, no, I'm not going back. She said, well, what do you want? I said, I want a freaking army to go back there. What sort of an army? I said, well, an army of mediums to start with. She got 12 mediums together. And on top of that, there was Brenda Butler and her niece, both mediums. And there's a couple other guys that joined in as well, one of which we didn't know. One I kind of knew of for a friend of a friend. The other old fellow, I didn't know who he was. I presume he was one of the others. And we took them to the forest. We got there 8 o'clock at night. We parked up in a little car park near Eastgate. I took them, the spot I took them to is where I caused the trouble, if you like. And it transpired. What I've done, I've taken some people who were probably the wrong people, ET's front room. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I took them to a portal area, their front room, and I'm letting them film.
Yeah.
I hadn't asked permission. I hadn't protected myself properly because I didn't really understand much about mediumship and protecting yourself.
Right.
I do now, but I didn't then. Took the mediums there, and that's the first time I've seen behind the veil, like a portal type thing. Took them to the spot and and the mediums were in a circle. I got the wind to swell up round us. ETs, or I say ETs, touch our faces, every single one of them. I made my peace with the ETs, the ETs, or what the beings, shall I say? ETs is probably not the right word here. Beings. I made my peace with beings. They were sorry what happened. They didn't mean to hurt me as much as they did. It was a warning shot. I'd broken universal law again. Not the first time I'd done it. Didn't realise there was a thing called universal law, but I broke it. Basically, what happened was we couldn't get out of this bit of the forest. 20 yards one way, there's a pathway. 20 yards the other way is a pathway. And as you walk towards it, it keeps moving away from you. Do you know what I mean? It's like on the turntable. Now we've got all these mediums who all thought it was funny, hilarious. This is brilliant. This, I say. Well, we was close to panicking. So I put it like that because we couldn't get out of the forest. They held us there. And all the mediums said that they were filling their energy, they were testing their energies. I think really they're making sure that I didn't do this again. I got the message.
Yeah.
Then they let us out. They didn't let us out onto the pathway. They let us out like another way out the forest, which you would
Yeah.
never do. Anyway, so then we carried on around the forest. 5 hours was in the forest, I might add. Went round, and as we walked along, all the different mediums picked up stuff. We get back to the car park. Everyone's shaking me and oh, that was brilliant. You know, I love all this and Brenda. And anyway, then the last person to come up and introduce himself was the one person that spoke to all night, was this older fella. He said, "Let me introduce myself." He said, "I'm David," whatever his name was. He said, "I work for the British government." I said, "What department?" And he pulled out his warrant card. He did work for the British government. I said, "What department?" He said, "I'm afraid I can't tell you that. It's a spook." I had a BBC pass card. He said, "I also do work for the BBC." He said, "I'd like to come and meet you and Brenda again. And we talk about and discuss what's happened here tonight." Well, I presumed he was with one of the mediums. Turns out he wasn't anybody. Now, how on earth this guy, spook, MI5, we would call him, how he knew we was going to us, I don't know. But he did.
This is, this is something that does amaze me, but that is actually such a frequent occurrence that whenever there's a meeting happening
Yeah.
that is, that is digging into something new or different that is related to this subject, they always know, and they turn up. And a lot of the time, these meetings take place, and they know that there's two people. They don't know who they are. They're not quite
Yeah.
sure where they're from, but they seem to fit in with everybody else. They've got all the right credentials. They're turning up at the right time. They're saying the right things. And then you discover afterwards that they are effectively the spooks. Now, how do they know this? Everything's monitored,
It
right?
is. I mean, I didn't realise how much it was monitored. I mean, but we didn't meet up with him like because we've had a few run-ins with spooks, especially at conferences and that.
Yes.
So we didn't meet up with him. But he's a lovely fella. I'm not knocking him at all. He was a
No.
really nice fella. And he was who he said, there's his warrant cards and BBC card and that. But we didn't meet up with him again. But after that, I'd made me peace with the ETs
Yes.
and I got better. And as
Yeah.
it transpired, I had broken universal law by walking into this being's portal area, showing somebody how to film. Now, they couldn't see, it sounds daft, but they couldn't see what they'd filmed. I could see it, but they're not used to seeing, say, ghosts or apparitions or
Yeah.
fairies or whatever.
Yes.
Once you're used to seeing stuff, which I was,
Yes.
in the forest, they didn't know what to look for. To them, it was all new.
Well, this is something that I know is very true as well, that people who are connected from that sixth sense perspective will
Yeah,
see these things. These can be like on the astral plane, right?
yeah.
On the fourth dimension. So to me, it would probably be invisible because I don't think that I generally have the ability to see these things. I know a lot of people who do.
Probably would because you're opening up and
Oh,
opening
yeah.
up.
You see, it doesn't stop me from completely believing this. I know,
Yeah,
in fact, I don't even have any doubt. I know it's true. But
yeah.
I know that a lot of people who are, like, because you say they were the wrong people. So they were stuck more in the 3D kind of density kind of
I
thing.
took that's the people I took in the first place. Yes, they
Yes.
were,
Yes.
and that's the mistake I had. And I've an idea they might have been dark side, more dark side than
Aye. That
anything.
would make sense, wouldn't it? And it's interesting, isn't it? Because universal law is something that I hadn't appreciated existed until I suppose maybe within the last few years I discovered it.
That I've broken before.
Right.
Filming is one thing. You can't take a picture of two beings in two different dimensions, the same picture.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
another one I broke. That was one of many I've broken. What happened after the psychic attack is a bit left out. After the psychic attack, Brenda Butler, I only told two people what exactly had happened. One was Brenda Butler, who came round and saged my entire place. And I stood outside my house here, and she saged the place, and I see a shadow will come right through the wall. There's two of them come right through the wall, and they just literally passed through the wall out of my house. And
Yeah.
she saved the house. She done everything. She got
Mm.
me in. She saged me. and
Mm.
the dog, and done it really, really well. She went to town on us both and cleared the house.
You know, this is, and again, this is something that I know, you know, the because we have within our readers and healers, for instance, we have Laurie Lamson over in
Yeah.
America, and she's a space clearing specialist. It's one of the things that she does.
All
That
right.
she sort of like goes in and she can, and Jolay has done this as well. In fact, Jolay did
Yeah.
this for my partner because she was
All right.
struggling with like one of these fourth dimensional entities,
Yeah.
and she came in and she was able to clear that.
All right.
But I know that from a mediumistic point of view, it's
Yeah.
something that many mediums are talented at doing. Is, and as you say with Brenda,
Yeah.
being able to come in and clear a space and to be able to, and as you said about protection as well, you know, not
Yeah.
understanding how to protect yourself. I mean, again,
Yeah.
like, you know, there was I not that long ago. Now I do know,
Yeah.
and I do protect myself, and I do it as part of a regular kind of ritual thing.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's just, it's a thought
Yeah.
process. It's part of a
It is.
meditation.
But I didn't do that at the forest with those people I took there. I
Yes,
should have. I was stupid. I should have done. But I wasn't into medium stuff at that point when this all kicked off. That's
yes.
what turned me into medium, doing and being a medium basically. One of the things that I was told was I had to go through that to say knock some sense into me, shall I say? I had to go through that. And that's
I,
what put me on the path of spiritual mediumship.
I tell you, and again, this just reminds me because I've read a lot of Dolores Cannon's work. You know,
I
a lot.
love that.
But I don't know whether you recall, but there was the one where she was like the gentleman. I think his name was John, and he was zooming in on the Antichrist, who's due
Yeah.
anytime now, basically. But he was like in the room with the Aman and a bunch of others, and that the Aman was pure evil. Basically, he was,
Right.
you know, he was a satanic entity, and he could see that there was something going on, that somebody from halfway around the world was actually spiritually in the room with them, even though physically he was in the room in America.
Yeah.
This was going on in the Middle East. But through him, and Dolores had done protection for everybody who was in the room. So he was protected, but she hadn't protected herself.
Oh, right.
And that entity who was at that Aman, who was like a physical entity in the room, who knew something was going on, put a psychic attack on Dolores, who was sat
Really?
in the room. Yeah.
I
She
didn't
got
know that.
pushed back into the chair, and it really rattled her. It really rattled her. Not as bad as your injuries or anything like that, but she never forgot it for the rest of her life. And she was always saying that was her fault for not having protected herself.
Yeah.
She
This is
remembered to
my
do
fault.
everybody else. She hadn't done herself.
Well, I mean, I didn't understand spiritual mediumship when this happened to me. Yeah,
Mm.
but that's what led me into spiritual mediumship because I was frightened. It took
Yeah.
me several months to get over that, you know.
Well, I can
And
imagine.
then I went to the universe and asked for help after what I've been told of the medium thing. Then I asked about meeting somebody, a medium, which was my other half now, Penny.
I
And
know.
that's how everything fell into place. Yeah,
It's
it sounds
brilliant.
crazy, but that's exactly how it all fell into place. You know,
I love it.
but the after that psychic attack, to say it frightened me was an understatement.
Mm.
I was so sure of myself that how can that happen? How can entities come into your locked house?
Mm.
And my little dog was hiding in the bath. It was hiding
Mm.
in the bath.
Mm.
When they come in after me, he hid in the bath. All
Mm.
night he was in the bath because he felt
Mm.
protected in the bath. I've got a staffy. He will die to protect me.
Mm.
But when he's dealing with this stuff, nah. It's not the first running I've had for strange entities, but that one was pretty bad.
Yeah, and you know, dogs are very connected.
Yeah,
Dogs and cats.
yeah,
They can see so much more than we can, right?
yeah,
Across dimensions. You know, they don't have language the way that we have language. They have more of a psychic kind of thing, but they have a
yeah,
psychic connection. So they understand these things more than we do,
yeah,
anyways. But to your point, you know, we can blunder along in our ignorance
yeah.
because we're learning. Okay,
We
and
are.
you know, we're gonna trip up every now and again, and sometimes we can trip up in a pretty bad way, as you indeed happened to you, which was not was no malicious intent. Obviously, that was something that just ended up being a life lesson learned, albeit at quite a cost at the time.
It was a double life. When I went to hospital, what do you say? I've just been beaten up by two invisible beings. Did you know what I mean? That was a nutcase, right?
I know. You won't.
And,
You'll be getting out of that hospital into a sanatorium.
well, that's right. But that's what happened. But you don't want to. In my case, I didn't want to believe what had happened.
No.
I remember what happened. I remember they literally got lifted off the ground and my head smacked into the desk. But the first blow knocked me out. They must have gone bang, bang a couple of times, hence injuries. But I actually took one. The other second person I told was a guy called Paul St. Clair in Yorkshire. You probably have heard of him.
Yeah, I know. I'm certainly familiar with that name. Yeah.
Well, I contacted him, rang him, and he said, Derek, take picture of injuries. He said, you never know when you'll need them. I said, but what do I do? Well, I was frightened. I'll be honest, I was frightened. Paul said, I don't know, because he wasn't into mediumship either, Paul. He's had zillions of experiences, same as me, really. But that totally scared the life out of me. But it shows you how real things are.
It does. Well, and again, I know that, again, when it comes to these kind of attacks of these sort of fourth dimensional entities, or whichever dimension they happen to be in, they can walk through walls because they don't, they're not the same physical density. But here's the thing, they can attack. They can, because I know Aveen over in Ireland, she's talked about this when we've done the interviews with her, and say, she actually feels the physical nature of this being once it comes through. And my partner was the same. She struggled with this for a decade or more. This other entity, which Jolie eventually managed to just clear. But there's a degree of physicality about it, despite the fact it's a fourth dimensional being. And it can travel through walls. It can, can go wherever it wants.